All right, hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar, Improved by 5, Increasing Your HealthCheck 360 Score. Before we do get started, just a couple of items to take care of. We will hopefully have time for questions at the end of the presentation, and you can type those into the question box in the lower portion of your control panel. We will be posting a recording of the webinar online, but if you would like a copy of the presentation in PDF format, or if your question does not get answered today, please email our support inbox, which again we will be showing at the end as well. All right, here is Coach Stephanie to get us started.
Thank you, Shelby. So let's take a look at today's agenda. First off, we will discuss each biometric that makes up your report. With each biometric, we will discuss why we test and what the associated risks are. We will finish up by discussing tips you can apply to improve your numbers for your coming screening. I should mention why the improvement of 5 points was chosen, and that is because 5 points is a significant yet realistic improvement in your overall score and overall health. If your score is already in the high 80s or 90s, great. We hope this webinar will provide you tips in order to maintain your health and your score. So let's get started. We're going in the same order as your report, so if you do have your report handy, feel free to follow right along. Your report will also provide the scoring breakdown for each biometric. So our first biometric to discuss is body mass index, or BMI. Simply put, BMI is a measure of body fat based on weight in relation to height. We know that a higher BMI increases our risk for type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, osteoarthritis, and so much more. Along with height and weight, measurements are also taken for the neck, the waist, and hips. While the neck measurement is not scored, you will note that it is factored into your risk for sleep apnea. The next scored biometrics are the waist and the waist to hip ratio. We know that excess weight carried in our midsection increases our risk for metabolic syndrome. This is the combination of high blood sugar, high blood pressure, and again, high cholesterol, which lead to the diseases we discussed with BMI. You may not see these risk factors yet on your report, and that is why prevention is key. I do want to mention that we score both the waist and the waist to hip ratio, as someone who is a bit smaller framed may fall into a lower risk range with the actual waist measurement, but might still be carrying that excess weight in the midsection, which will be caught by the waist to hip ratio. So weight loss can be very challenging, so know there is no wrong place to start. If you are overweight, losing just 5% of your body weight is an incredible accomplishment and considered medically significant as it looks to reduce the discussed risks. Tracking is a really great place to start because it gives you further insight into your current habits. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress are all important areas to take a look at with weight loss. All of these lifestyle factors can be tracked through your HealthCheck360 account. So track for a few weeks to get an idea of what your current habits typically entail. Here are a few ideas on where you may want to start. When it comes to nutrition, be very mindful of liquid calories. Drinking our sugars and even our artificial sweeteners is a very easy way to put that weight on. For example, set a goal to reduce your soda intake by 1 can per day or even 1 can per week. Be mindful of portions, especially when out to eat, and pre-portion items to the serving size before you enjoy that meal or snack. You could also set a goal to include 1 cup of vegetables with lunch and dinner in place of bread or pasta. Choose a vegetable when out to eat as your side as well. If you notice that 2 days of walking for 20 minutes is pretty routine, bump it up to 3 days for 30 minutes. Go ahead and challenge yourself. Again, there is no wrong place to start when it comes to weight loss. So track, set those small goals, write them down, and after about a month of consistency, have a game plan for what's next. So our next biometric is blood pressure. With this reading, we are measuring the force of the blood against our artery walls. If that force is high enough, we get an elevated reading. Over time, elevated readings increase our risk for heart attack, stroke, kidney disease, and even loss of vision. Take your blood pressure regularly, as this disease is known as the silent killer. It may be asymptomatic for years. Different pharmacies and drugstores have cuffs, or even make the investment for a blood pressure cuff at home. So along with taking our blood pressure routinely is exercise. Exercise is a great habit to have in place in order to improve or maintain this reading. The recommendation is 150 minutes of moderate activity per week. This breaks down to 30 minutes of activity for 5 days per week. Feel free to break the activity up. If you have 15 minutes right now and 15 minutes after dinner, get out on that brisk walk. The key is to get your heart rate elevated and ensure that every 6 to 8 weeks, you're increasing that intensity and or frequency. A strong heart is a healthy heart. So again, set your specific and small goals to incorporate or increase exercise into your weekly routine. When it comes to nutrition and blood pressure, it has always been recommended to watch sodium intake. While it is not a bad idea to watch sodium intake, the attention really needs to be placed on our processed foods. This includes our sugary drinks, chips, cereals, pastas, breads, cookies, pastries, and so forth. Focus your attention on real or whole foods. Your two best go-tos are your proteins and your vegetables. Choose quality meats, eggs, and plain dairy products, along with a variety of fiber-rich vegetables. Think of your leans and greens for this one. The last area we are going to take a look at with blood pressure is stress. No surprise, right? Stress affects our blood pressure. While we may not be able to avoid stress, we can learn to effectively manage our stress by minimizing our body's reaction. Again, exercise is a great way to manage stress. In the moment, exercise might not be an option, so turn to what you enjoy and work really hard to make it habit. This will vary from person to person, but when a stressor is presented, have your go-to in place. This may be 3 deep breaths in and 3 deep breaths out. Listen to your favorite song, jot down a quick gratitude list, stretch, or take a walk to get a drink of water. It can really be whatever. Focus your attention on a positive task that benefits your mental and or physical health in the moment of stress. It may seem silly to have this go-to in place, but it can become habit just like anything else. So our next biometric is cholesterol. And your cholesterol is divided into 4 parts: your total, your HDL, LDL, and triglycerides. So what is cholesterol? It is a fat-like substance found in your bloodstream as well as in every cell of your body. Our body needs cholesterol for life, but too much does have the opposite effect. With too much cholesterol present, that risk for heart attack and stroke increases yet again. But not to worry, there are steps we can take to improve our cholesterol as well. So let's take a look at each specific area. We'll start with HDL. So we want to think H for healthy or H for high. This is one number on the report that we do want to go up, as HDL carries excess or bad cholesterol back to our liver to be broken down. If this excess cholesterol is not taken back to the liver, it is left to build on the walls of our arteries, increasing that risk for heart disease. Incorporating heart-healthy fats or omega-3 fatty acids can increase this HDL. Sources include quality fish, specifically cold water, along with your eggs, avocados, almonds, walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, and quality oils. Quality oils include coconut oil, which retains its health properties even when heated, and olive oil at room temperature. So what can you do? Set a goal to incorporate fish once per week. Add avocado to your eggs in the morning, or dress your salad with a homemade olive oil-based dressing. And if you're looking for even more information on fat, tune into next month's webinar as Coach Jake discusses this topic in further detail. So along with diet, one of the best things you can do for HDL is maintain that physical activity. Like we heard with weight and blood pressure, 150 minutes rings true. Again, you can break this activity up throughout your day, 10 minutes here, there, and 10 minutes later. Incorporate a variety of activities that you enjoy: walking, jogging, jump roping, jumping jacks, free weights, whatever you can do to get that heart rate elevated. Again, start with a small and realistic goal and work your way up. Now let's take a look at LDL. So let's think L for low, as LDL is considered our bad cholesterol. Again, LDL in excess is lining plaque within our arteries, narrowing and hardening them, making them susceptible to atherosclerosis and furthermore, heart attack and stroke. Diet is the area we'll really want to focus on for this biometric as well. Cutting back on our fried foods, and again, those processed foods is going to be the benefit. In place of our fried foods, our pizzas, our boxed dinners and desserts, we'll want to focus on incorporating a variety of vegetables along with our proteins. We're right back to our leans and greens. Start small. Here are a few different ideas. Again, set that goal to incorporate 1 cup of vegetable with each meal. Now that summer is here, take advantage of grilled meats and vegetables to avoid frying. With the warmer weather, don't forget about your crock pot. I know, typically I associate a crock pot with cold weather, but it's a really great way to prepare pulled pork or chicken while avoiding heat from the oven. Just add vegetables to your creation. Our last component is triglycerides. Think of triglycerides as a sticky component that's holding that plaque together within our arteries. Not good. So we want to keep this number in the ideal range. Again, diet is another great area to turn towards. As discussed with HDL and LDL, we will want to cut back on processed foods we consume, and more specifically our sugars and our simple carbohydrates. Our sugary drinks, our sodas, juices, sports drinks, our cookies, crackers, breads, pastas, and even our whole foods like rice and potatoes all have a negative effect on this biometric. Look to replace these foods with our fresh or frozen produce, legumes, and try grains like quinoa. Find substitutions here and there. Some examples include, in place of your morning cereal, grab 2 hard-boiled eggs and a piece of fruit. Have the burger and skip the bun. Try spaghetti squash in place of spaghetti noodles. With each of these recommendations, we just cut out the processed carbohydrate, but kept our nutrient-dense foods. So next we're on to glucose. Glucose is a very important biometric to keep an eye on, as high glucose levels increase our risk for type 2 diabetes, a very difficult and serious disease to manage. The good news, type 2 diabetes is 100% preventable, and in many cases reversible. Awareness is key. Sugar is in so much of what we consume, even in foods that do not taste sweet. Again, it's our pizza crust, our breads, our pastas, potatoes, all quickly turn into sugar. You'll note the American Heart Association recommends no more than 9 teaspoons of added sugar for men and 6 for women per day. This may not seem like all that much, and that's because it's not. If you think about it, a 12-ounce can of soda has almost more sugar than either men or women should be consuming per day, and most of us are well above this recommendation. So what can we do? A lot. The recommendations are very similar to that of triglycerides. Watch added sugars and simple carbohydrates. This again includes our sugary drinks. Cutting back on sugary drinks, especially soda, can be very difficult. Research is also consuming that artificial sweeteners do have a negative effect on our glucose and can even increase our cravings for sugar. So really do your best to cut back on all sugary drinks, as well as those artificially sweetened ones. So again, let's set a goal that's realistic. Try and cut back on 1 can of soda per day or even per week. Look to replace with water and try adding a lemon or a lime wedge. Muddle some fresh berries in the bottom of your glass for added flavor. Keep watching out for those simple carbohydrates. They're convenient and readily available, but they are loaded with sugars. Again, it's our breads, crackers, cereals, granola bars, desserts, and more. Work to replace with whole grains, and even better than whole grains, opt for our fruits, our vegetables, and our legumes again. Carbohydrates, and thus glucose, is essential to life as it provides us with energy. We just need to keep choosing the right energy. A few examples. Instead of a granola bar for breakfast, replace with a piece of string cheese. Instead of crackers, opt for cucumber slices. And when choosing a yogurt, choose a plain option and add in your own flavor with berries and cinnamon. Instead of the granola on top, add almonds and chia seeds for crunch. And look at that. In place of sugar, we just added in some of our heart-healthy fats to help out with that HDL. So again, take it slow, work to incorporate whole foods that give you the energy you need. I should also mention that it is important to consume consistent meals, especially breakfast, as this can help to control glucose as well. So on to our next biometric, nicotine. Nicotine is pretty self-explanatory as the damage is cumulative. It increases our risk for heart disease, lung disease, stroke, cancer, and more. While the evidence is compelling, the drug is incredibly addictive, and quitting can be very difficult. You'll note that any product containing nicotine will test positive with HealthCheck360. Where to start? The first step is to identify your motivation. Why do you want to quit? It could be your health, your future health, your loved ones, future loved ones, finances, ease in performing the tasks you enjoy, hiking, biking, running, whatever it is, find your motivation and have it present day to day. Write it down or keep a picture with you. Once you have your motivation, choose a direction, exhaust your resources, and try again. Your health and your future are worth it. You could choose a meaningful quit date, taper off, go cold turkey, Research over-the-counter options like patches, lozenges, and gum. Speak to your physician to see if a replacement therapy requiring a prescription is right for you, and so much more. Nicotine is not only physical, but behavioral. Set yourself up for success by realizing when, where, and why you use nicotine. There is no wrong place, or there is no wrong way to go about it. Really ensure that those around you are supportive and aware of your goals. HealthCheck360 is here to provide support to you as well, so feel free to give us a call. So on to our last scored biometric, the gamma-glutamyl transferase, or better put, GGT. GGT is an enzyme useful in diagnosing disease of the liver. An elevated reading may indicate that damage is being done to the liver, but does not indicate what the specific cause is. The enzyme may be elevated in cases of alcoholism, congestive heart failure, diabetes, and more. If this reading is elevated on your report, please refer to your physician for further discussion. Following the GGT is nearly 2 pages of additional testing. Each company can decide to add on with a variety of additional tests, such as the thyroid, PSA, A1C, and more. If interested in these tests, please contact your Human Resources Department. While these biometrics are not scored, it is really great information to keep an eye on and provide to your physician. So we've talked a lot about what to focus on throughout the year, but what can you do the day before and even the day of your screening? Here are a few tips. Know your numbers. Ensure measurements taken the day of your screening are consistent with readings you may have received over the years or with your physician. Drink at least 8 ounces of water, as this allows for a smoother blood draw as your veins plump when hydrated. Remove any excess clothing, items in your pockets, and shoes to ensure accurate body measurements. Fast at 8 to 12 hours, but not over, as this may negatively skew your glucose reading. Check with your physician regarding the administration of medications. Arrive early and allow yourself time to breathe and relax, ensuring your blood pressure is typical. And before initialing, ensure you review all information for your accuracy. I hope this information provided today equips you with the knowledge and confidence to achieve your wellness goals and improve your HealthCheck360 score by 5.
All right, we will have time for some questions here in a couple minutes, but just want to let you know what is coming up in the next couple months. Like Steph already talked about, next month is going to talk about dietary fat and what you need to know. August, we're going to focus on exercise, and the coaches are actually going to give our favorite tips and exercises to give you guys some options. And then here is our contact information. We are on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we have our blog, which is where you will see the recordings of this webinar. So by either this afternoon or tomorrow, that will be up, so you can watch that. We are also on Instagram, and then you can contact us. Our phone number is on there, and email as well. Again, if we don't get to your questions today, please email that email below. So give us a second, and we'll pull up those questions.